as usual when I do projects, as I approach the end of one, I start to think about what I'm going to do next. I do like to be kept busy. And that was the case when I was nearing the end of doing the London spacecraft. What am I going to do next? And I'm in an RM what to do. Shall I make a Thunderbird 2? Shall it be a figure kit? Shall it be a spacecraft hardware kit? Shall it be a prop? I don't know. And yeah, there wasn't anything that I could say, oh yeah, I'm going to do that one next. But then, lo and behold, good old Mooncrest Models, yeah, Gary started putting up in progress photos of the development of their next figure kit, the Mekon from Dandare. And been a big fan of the Mekon and Dandare. The first exposure I had to the Mekon and Dandare was, of course, 2000 AD. And then retroactively, I went back and fell in love with all the original depictions of the two by Frank Hampson in the Eagle back in the 50s and 60s. So, yeah, I've always wanted a Mekon kit. I think I did have the white metal small one, about that big, put out by Comet Miniatures back in the 80s. This is bigger. This is going to be 26 centimeters tall when built. Curious artwork. This is a photo of the actual figure you get. This is the Mekon from 2000 AD. This one I think is from the revamped Eagle of the 80s. Not sure about that one, and I can't tell about that one. Doesn't seem to be any Frank Hampson artwork, and I don't know if that's a copyright thing or what. Anyway, this is an unboxing. I've just taken it out the wrapper. I promise I haven't opened it before. This is going to be interesting because, by all accounts, it's designed and sculpted in 3D, computer style, but then printed out traditionally. So it's going to be interesting. So what we got? Resin and mixed media scaled kit. This is something that I'm not particularly looking forward to. The head is actually two halves. I guess that's to keep the weight down. I mean, look at that spindly little neck. If that was solid resin, that's going to give over time, isn't it? So, excuse me. So there's the chap. There's his little skiff thing, support rod, base, plaque. All right. So what we got? This might not be the best of unboxings, in that everything's too nicely wrapped up. Bloody hell. Is that his head? Yeah, that's his head. All right, I think I've got to put this down and open these up to get a proper look. Okay, well, here they are out of their wrapping. Yeah, I mean, this kit has been put together superbly well. The packaging was amazing. I don't think I've ever seen parts wrapped up so tightly and carefully before. And this is what you get. So let's start with the boring bit first. There's the base. Again, this is something I'm not used to. The hole has already been pre-drilled for the clear rod. Immaculate casting, no flash, no air bubbles, and this isn't resin printed. This is proper resin. Superb job. So skiff's in two parts. Just realised there's little indents for his feet. Speaking of which, there they are, like so. Yeah, that's the underside of the skiff. And over here, clear rod. Will that go in first time? Will it? No, I think I've got to widen that hole just a tad. That's all right, no big deal. Plaque. Body. Okay. This is curious. Everything's resin, but these look 3D printed to me. And I'm thinking the reason they're 3D printed, well, he's got a ring, is because the detail is just so fine. So that's that. And then, yeah, lastly, you know, the main focus of attention on any figure kit is the face. And look at that for a face. Look at that. Yeah, and in two halves. You see there's a big lug, and it's sort of almost like a teardrop shape. There we are. That matches that. All right, now again, I'm doing this one-handed, but I had a test run when I got the two bits out, and if you move it around, it's not too bad. There's no gaps, but there will be a line. But what actually helps is he's had his bumpy skin sculpted in. So that's going to aid me when it comes to joining the two together and disguising the joint. All right, what a fabulous looking fella. So looking forward to this. It's going to be a very, very simple job because, you know, he's basically green with a lilac tunic and a silver and red base. So I'm just going to test fit everything. When I'm happy with all that, I'm going to give everything a wash in soapy water and start gluing. Right, this isn't much later. That was nice and simple. It was just a little bit of clean up, some flashing and very small seam lines. Wash everything and start gluing. The instructions say to use super glue. With resin, I much prefer using a two-part epoxy. It's just a stronger bond. So that was simple enough. That's the two halves for his little skip thing. There's going to be some filling needed here. That's quite a crack he's got. And also on the sides there. So I need to do some filling. Will he sit on there? No. And then, yeah, the head, here he is. And there's the join. All right, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. There's a bit of a gap you can see just there. Here, some of the epoxy squished through, and as it was setting, I was poking at it with my scalpel. I got to do that. Oh, I got to do that a bit more. Try and dapple it to match all the scaly bits. Seam there, seam there, seam there. It goes back. Right. So next thing is to get some filler out, and I'm so looking forward to painting this fella. With him in white primer, you can really see the detail. Look at the detail on that skin. Amazing. Right, here he is based in Vallejo's olive green. And here we go with the whole quandary of what to do if you're doing a character from the comics. Do you replicate the very basic colour schemes of how the character appeared in the comic, or do you go more realistic? And I think I'm going to be doing a bit more than just like two-tone shading, because there's so much detail in this skin, far more than the Mekon appear to have in the comics, that I've got to try and, you know, bring that out a bit. So I think the next step is to do a dark wash, and then I'll start dry brushing and lightening him up. I don't think we're far off from the end now. That's his body suit done. Lilac isn't a colour that I would normally have, you know, in stock, but luckily I had this rather fetching shade. left over from when I did the Gyro Captain from Mad Max 2. He had a lilac scarf. So I had a pot of Games Workshop lilac just sitting there. So that's fortuitous. All I'm going to do here is next mix up a wash of that with a purple, thin it right down, and put a wash on, and then dry brush back over. Then that bit will be done. His little hover skiff thing I've painted in silver. I've just got to paint the red trim along there and his chair. What I didn't realise until I started painting it is that you've got the 2 indents for his feet, but look, you've also got sculpted into it the tread of his shoes, which is totally not necessary, but that's a really fun little touch. All right, so that's that. And yeah, his face, I don't know if you can make this out, but I did wash it. I washed it with another Vallejo colour, Vallejo black green, and then he is lighter than this. Yeah, washed him in Vallejo black green, then dry brushed him again with the original olive, and then I've gone in with the olive green mixed with Games Workshop's Moot green, which is a very bright fluorescent green, so you don't need much. And I've left it there at the moment. I'm going to wait until he's all assembled before judging whether I should add more. It's easier to add more than take stuff away. Oh, and his eyes I've just picked out in white for now. Next I'm going to put some ivory in there so it's not so stark, and then I've got to decide on eye colour. The box art has him having yellow eyes, which is quite unusual, but I'm going to go back and dig out my old 2000 AD issues and look for some of those colour centre spreads and see what colour eyes he was, because I think this is based more on the rather than the original Eagle version. This is a mix of the Bellardinelli Dave Gibbons Mekon from 2000 AD, and then the Ian Kennedy and other artists in the revamped 80s Eagle. So I think when I next come back, I'm going to be pretty much done or done. So I went with the yellow eyes of the Ian Kennedy new Mekon from the new Eagle, like so, and trying to get him all in shot. There we go, there he is. And didn't say anything about the base, but the base I primed in white, and that cream colour is Games Workshop's Wraithbone, I think it's called. It's a can I've got a ton of, and I've done that and the plaque quite plain because I didn't want to distract from the big chap. So there we go. Lovely kit, love doing it. Thank you Mooncrest Models for putting out a very interesting model of a very interesting character. And yeah, I look forward to see what you come up with next.